G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are back on the VL build. There it is out there. Hasn't gone away. We've been doing some things in the background, but in this episode, we finally got our freshly machined engine and freshly rebuilt cylinder head back from the machine shop. I've already started to gap the rings. In this episode, we're going to get the rotating assembly put in the engine. Fingers crossed, there's no hiccups, but we've got everything here ready to put the bottom half of the engine together. Oh yeah, and we're also selling Raiden Hero drag slicks. Oh yeah, and the drag slicks, you'll find out more about those on spoolup.com.au. But stick around and I'll show you everything that we have here ready to build a forged RB30. Thanks for tuning in everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's been a minute since we've done anything with VL. As you can see, she's still outside. She's chilling. This thing lives inside. It's in immaculate condition now that it's been restored. I'm part of the way through doing the front VT disc brake hub and rotor conversion with the twin piston calipers. I just am waiting for some brake lines, which again will be available on spoolup.com.au, which is something that you need. They're a special custom brake line that matches the VT to the VL brake line on the body. But they're coming. We're getting some of those made. They'll be on the website, so check those out later on. But for today's video, we're trying to get the rotating assembly put back in here. Now we've got this engine back from the machiners. It was done at SALIBA Race Engines. They've crack tested the block, cleaned it, cleaned out all of the water jackets. They said there was quite a bit of gunk stuck in there. One problem that Holden and Nissan's alliance had with the VL was they used a copper core radiator with this block and an alloy head, and as a result, so I'm told, there's a bit of reaction with the metal and they do fill up with all sorts of crap and scale in the block. So that's all been cleaned out. They told me heaps of stuff came out. The whole thing's been cleaned, crack tested, brand new Welsh plugs put in. The block has been machined 0.5 millimeter oversized, so it's got nice fresh bores in there. They're being cross hatched all perfectly and honed, and it was done with a flex plate bolted to the top of the engine, so it gets a nice square hone in every single cylinder. So that's sweet. We've also got some rods and pistons to go in the engine, so we're doing forged rods and pistons. We have some JE pistons, which we have here. These are for the RB30. Now the RB30 is a 12 valve, so 2 per cylinder. But these reliefs have been cut in there, and it is the ones specially for the RB30, as you can see down there. And we're also running the Max Peating rods. Shout out to Max Peating rods. They sent these through. These have been tested and balanced and checked over by SALIBA Race Engines. They all balanced up perfectly. This is number 6. So the engine's actually been balanced and yeah, all ready to go. So what I've already gone ahead and done is fitted all of the wrist pins, a bit of assembly lube there, slapped those in, put the retaining clips in. That was a mission, let me tell you. I've also gapped the bottom ring for boost, so that's at 0.21. So that's all sorted. So all 6 of those are done. I've got to do the top rings next. We've got some ACL race bearings. These are all to suit the standard crank. The crank is in here. It's all been polished up, balanced again. It's all perfect, and it's been measured to take the ACL bearings perfectly. Now, just as a comparison here, we've got the old factory rods that came out of this engine and the factory pistons. Now, this was a naturally aspirated car, so there's a bit of a bump there to give it a bit more compression. This one being for boost, that's been shaved off, so it's dropped the compression down. You can crank more boost into it. They're much lighter. There's actually oiling holes all the way around here so that the pistons get cooled down by oil and lubricated. and we've got the RB30 bolts and nuts on the bottom of the conrod, and you can see here it's quite a lot thicker than the factory one, so much stronger. I'm really looking forward to throwing these rods in. Everyone I've shown them to said they are quite high quality. The machine shop has tested them, triple checked all their balances and everything, and they're all perfect, so they're going in. But for now, let's get this on a time lapse, and I'm gonna just file up those top rings, get those assembled onto the pistons, then we can go ahead, flip it over, put the crank in, torque that down, and then throw the pistons in one at a time.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 milli on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Hopefully that wasn't too boring, but here we are. All of the rings and pistons are assembled. Next step is to clean down the deck, the bores, flip the engine over, clean out the crank bores, and then unwrap the crank, give that a really good clean, wipe it all down, make sure there's nothing on there, and then start to sit in the ACL race bearings, bit of assembly lube, drop the crank in, get that all lubed up, put on the other bearings, end caps, torque it down. Let's go. Hopefully those time lapses weren't too boring, but we've now got the max peating rods in and the JE forged pistons in. Everything's all done up there, and I've put some CRC down the bores. So to protect it, bit of CRC multi-purpose lube. And previously, what I was using to keep it all safe while it was stored before I cleaned it all down was some long life anti-rust lube. So that was on there as well. Everything went well, perfectly smooth. Well, as smooth as I can go anyway. A little bit awkward. This is an old crusty engine stand that I've got, and the bolts are a bit too long. Yeah, I can only turn it around halfway. The handle's too short for me to get enough leverage to crank it all the way right round. But we got there. There was a couple of mistakes I made. I forgot to CRC the bores before I put the pistons in. I got 3 done and I was like, oh damn, I forgot to do that. So I went and CRC'd the heck out of them. They're clean now. I'm going to spray some more in there before I put it away. Just some good old CRC penetrant. Previously it had the CRC long life on there, but I've cleaned all of that off now because we've got it all cleaned down. So you would have seen me cleaning with the prep wash, the brake cleaner, cleaning down all the bores, everything. I cleaned the crank. Now the crank was polished, knife edged, measured. We ordered the bearings, we measured the bearings. Everything was already measured. I didn't have to plastic gauge it all. It was already done. It was a standard sized crank. Same with the rods. They're all sweet. They didn't need plastic gauging. I was assured by the machine shop who did all of the checking, balancing, blueprinting, all that sort of stuff, that I didn't need to then go ahead and re-plastic gauge all of the bearings. So all those measurements were already done. The right stuff was ordered. It was all ready to go. So that's sweet. I do want to put the head on as soon as possible and seal this bad boy up. However, I'm missing a couple of dowels. One in there and one in here. So I don't know whether I rip them out of the engine that's in there, shove them in there, or whether I just order some new ones and wait a couple of days and get them in. But the rotating assembly is in. In the next video, we'll get the head buttoned up. We'll start to get all of the bits bolted onto the engine. I've got to do some modifications to the exhaust manifold, fit the new turbo, make the downpipe, adjust the screamer, chuck on the engine mounts, start to button up all of this. I've got some new water fittings that go in here. They were from a guy that I met on Facebook. When I do that in the next video, I'll link his details in the bottom of the description and you can go find him on Facebook if you want to order any. But for now, I'm just dummying on the water pump, my billet oil pump, which I'll get to and discuss more about in the next video. But I just want to try and track down all the right nuts and bolts that I need, because when I pulled down the engine, I just chucked everything in that box. I didn't really label it. I've got a reference car. I've got a whole bunch of bolts, but for things like this on the front of the engine that are really important, I'll get new hardware for. And I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure when I took the engine apart, there was a gasket here on the oil pump, but the new oil pump didn't come with one. So I've got to get an oil pump gasket, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it just needs some silicone. So I'll do some research on that, get that sorted so I can stick that on the next video. But the VL content is back. I've got to get this thing buttoned up, turboed, boosting, all ready to go, and then it's going up for sale. So if anyone wants a fully forged, built, Haltech, turboed VL hectic wagon, let me know. Also, for a bit of fun, again, I'm not an engine builder. I just sort of know roughly what to do, and I've done a bit of research. Everything's all torque to spec. The machine shop also checked and torqued all the bolts, stretched them, did all the testing, told me what torque specs I needed. I did cross-reference that in the manual to make sure they're all still close and everything was good. So it's all torqued down, ready to roll. I assure you it's done properly, but if you want to, for a bit of fun, let me know what I did wrong in the comments below. I'll take it on board. I do want to learn as much as possible. So if you got any criticisms about what I did, chuck them down below. I know I made a couple of mistakes. I promise you I rectified them. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all the bores down again with some CRC just to stop any surface buildup, just to coat all the cylinders. Yeah, I'll wrap it up, pack it away, and we're done. That's it for this video. Don't forget to spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.